5 days ago, this team looked cooked. 6 straight losses, getting swept by the White Sox of all teams, and the rotation looked like a MASH unit. Then Wednesday happens. The Blue Jays walk out of Dodger Stadium with a 4-3 win over the defending World Series champions, and suddenly there's a little bit of oxygen in the room again. But let's not get it twisted. One win doesn't fix what's broken right now, and what's broken right now is serious. Cody Ponce, gone for 6 months. Shane Bieber, hurt. Trey Yesavage, hurt. José Berríos, hurt. Yimi Garcia, hurt. And then Max Scherzer, who was supposed to be the stabilizing veteran presence in this rotation, limps out of his last start after 2 innings with forearm tendinitis. 2 innings. The Blue Jays are 5-7, sitting 4th in the AL East, and their pitching staff is held together with duct tape and prayers right now. So what do? You start making calls. And apparently, the Blue Jays front office is doing exactly that, because Bleacher Report just dropped a piece connecting Toronto to 4 overlooked free agent pitchers who are still sitting out there unsigned. 4 guys who could walk through that door and help this team right now. So let's get into it. Who are they? What do they bring? And is any of this actually realistic? First name up, Michael Kopech. This is the most interesting arm on the list to me, and honestly, I think he's the most talented pitcher available in this market right now. Kopech's career has been this frustrating mix of elite stuff and brutal inconsistency, but when you look at what he did in limited work for the Dodgers last season, 14 appearances, a 2.45 ERA, 12 strikeouts, the stuff is still very much there. We're talking a fastball that can touch the upper 90s, a slider that makes hitters look completely lost. The problem with Kopech has always been durability and command. He gets in his own head, falls behind hitters, and then gives up damage. But in a bullpen role, in short bursts, that version of Kopech is genuinely dangerous. And right now, the Blue Jays bullpen needs dangerous. They need an arm that can go out there in the 6th or 7th inning and actually miss bats. Kopech does that. He's only 29 years old, he's pitching for a contract, and frankly, I'm a little surprised a team hasn't scooped him up already. If the Blue Jays can get him at the right price, that's a move you make. Next up is Justin Wilson, and this one is a little more straightforward. Wilson is 38 years old, and nobody's going to confuse him for a closer, but what he is reliable. Last year with Boston, he made 61 appearances out of the bullpen. 61. He posted a 3.35 ERA, went 4-1, and struck out 57 hitters. That is a veteran reliever who knows how to get outs, knows his role, and shows up every day, ready to work. Toronto's bullpen right now could absolutely use a guy like that. Someone who doesn't need to be the hero, just needs to throw quality innings and eat up some workload. Wilson is that guy. He's a left-handed specialist who can be deployed situationally, and at 38, he's not going to command a massive salary. This is a depth move, but it's a smart depth move. Number 3, Tyler Anderson. Okay, this one requires a little bit of faith, but hear me out. Anderson had a rough 2025. 2 wins, 8 losses, a 4.56 ERA. That's not good. But here's the context. In 2022, Tyler Anderson was an all-star. In 2024, Tyler Anderson was an all-star again. This is not a guy who just fell off a cliff. He had a bad year. It happens. And when you look at what the Blue Jays need right now, a veteran starter who has shown the ability to pitch at an elite level and who is likely available at a bargain price because of that bad season, that fits. The Blue Jays need innings. They need rotation depth. They need somebody who can eat up 5 or 6 innings and keep the game close while the rest of this roster figures itself out. If Anderson is healthy and motivated, the upside here is way higher than the price tag. I'd take that shot. The worst case scenario is he pitches like he did last year and you move on. The best case scenario is he rediscovers the all-star form and you look like a genius. And then there's the 4th name, the one that's going to get a reaction. Marcus Stroman. Yeah, that Marcus Stroman. Look, I know how complicated this is. Stroman spent the first 6 years of his career in Toronto. He was a real piece of what the Blue Jays were building back then. A homegrown arm who could take the ball every 5th day and compete. But the way it ended was ugly. Stroman was vocal, maybe too vocal, about how the front office was handling things. He had real issues with how management was treating young guys like Vladdy and Bo, holding them back for service time reasons. And then the Mets trade happened, and the way he found out, the way he left, it was messy. There were hard feelings on both sides. Now he's 34 years old, and he's coming off a difficult 9-game stint with the Yankees last year. Not great. The Yankees moved on. And here he is, still a free agent in April. But here's what I keep coming back to. Marcus Stroman is a 2-time All-Star. He knows how to pitch. He's a ground ball machine, he commands the strike zone, and when he's right, he is an above-average major league starter. The question is whether the Blue Jays and Stroman could actually coexist again, whether both sides could set aside what happened and make it work for the right reasons. And honestly, the Blue Jays don't have the luxury of being picky right now. With Bieber out, Garcia out, Berríos dealing with something, Ponce gone for basically the year, and Scherzer, a genuine question mark, they need starting pitching. Period. If Stroman comes in, pitches with a chip on his shoulder, trying to prove he can still do it, that's a potentially useful pitcher for a team that is desperate right now. Is it messy? Yeah. Is the relationship complicated? Absolutely. But sometimes baseball doesn't give you clean options. Sometimes you have to make the practical choice. So here's where I land on all of this. The Blue Jays snapped their losing streak, which is good, but snapping a losing streak doesn't fix a rotation that is genuinely in crisis. They need to be aggressive on the free agent market. They need arms, and they need them now. Of these four names, Kopech is the most exciting, Wilson is the most reliable, Anderson is the best value play if he bounces back, and Stroman is the most complicated but potentially the most impactful if it works. The front office has to make some noise here. The roster isn't good enough to just wait this out and hope the injuries resolve themselves. Toronto is talented enough to compete in this division, but only if they get healthy and only if they get help. It is still early. There is absolutely still time to turn this season around. But the window to act is right now, and the Blue Jays need to take it.